Is Outnumbered. I'm Melissa Francis. Here today, Town Hall head editor and Fox News contributor Katie Pavlich, host of Kennedy on Fox Business, Kennedy herself, syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. And joining us on the couch, you recognize him, former Republican presidential candidate and Fox News contributor Herman Cain. You are wildly outnumbered, my friend.
I know.
Bring it back out to the couch. I've covered business forever. Deals fall apart at least twice.
Yes.
Before you get to the finish line.
Yes.
This is only the first time this thing's going to fall apart, in my opinion. What's your take?
This is posturing.
Yeah.
Whenever you're negotiating, you've got two sides, a lot of posturing take place. It doesn't matter whether it's in business or whether it's between countries. And John Bolton said something else that I thought was very critical. He said this could be the first meeting of several. So I think expectations by a lot of people that all of a sudden we're going to get a final solution this first time, I think those expectations are too high.
Leslie.
I'm not surprised. I love to say I told you so. I told you so, but I would agree with you. I mean, this is not going to be, you know, a quick 5-minute discussion. There are going to be many meetings. I'm not surprised with this because, you know, when you sit back and you look at Kim Jong-un and he says, you know, I don't have a problem with the troops being in South Korea. No way. He's had a problem. His father had a problem. His grandfather had a problem. We've been here before. They've turned their backs on meetings. They've turned their back on denuclearization under Clinton, and we're seeing that now again. I don't trust this man, and I don't think it's surprising that he's not trustworthy to sit down and meet with our president. And unfortunately, this could end up putting our president in the same place that every administration for the past 50 years has been in, which is pressuring them to try and get diplomacy, to try to get to this point, and then we never make it through the
Well, ultimately, everyone should want peace, every single person. And it's really disingenuous for people on the left to say, ha, 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 it's not working out. It's like,
well, to be fair,
wait. I told you so is not. Thank you, Melissa.
We didn't do that.
Thank you. I have two witnesses. I have two witnesses. No. What I'm saying is, I'm not surprised if this wouldn't happen because you're not a person who has brainwashed your people to think that you are a god and your father did that and your grandfather did this and you turn around and you say, oh, okay, I'm a nice guy and I want to play, you know, I want to have a unified Korea, and today they're referring to themselves once again as a separate North Korea.
I mean, he does want a unified Korea. He just wants to be in charge of the whole entire thing.
But this is why, to your point, I will agree, you know, you talk about posturing, but paranoia plays a huge into the mechanism of this man. Okay,
it would have to.
And when you talk about not only Libya, but you also talk about Iraq, and also coming out of Ambassador Bolton's mouth. Sorry, this just feeds the.
But there are other players in the region.
However, China has been completely marginalized by the U.S. and South Korea and North Korea in these talks and in this process. And you know they're sitting over there seething, and they've been waiting for a way in to once again exert that influence and, you know, probably make some gilded promises.
And going back to...
I just wanted to say, being the lone liberal on the couch, this is not liberals don't want this and conservatives do. To me, this is an area where Americans come together. I mean, you know, certainly, you know, to have a denuclearized North Korea is in the best interest of the United States and the world, and certainly our ally South Korea.
What is your big takeaway from reading about and reading some of these thousands of pages of transcripts finally released? Just so strange. Is the takeaway here that presidential campaigns should no longer be trolling in Russian swamps for opposition research?
Well, okay, I have a different takeaway than you guys. Okay, I'm not standing on any grassy knoll. I don't think that, I wouldn't say a nothing burger. I think it raises some more questions, to your point, if he's telling the truth. And this is why. When I just look at, okay, did I read all 2,000 pages right before we came on? No.
I was afraid to print them because everybody in my area would have been so mad at me. I wanted to, but I was like, oh, they'll kill me.
But what I have read thus far, when somebody says, okay, the whole adoption thing and then the scrambling after for, you know, the attorney who's going to say what, and when you look at some of the text messages, you know, this is what I told him, and hey, I hope it was worth it, you know, tell your dad I hope it was worth it. Why, if this is a nothing burger? Two, when you have an email that specifically says, hey, tomorrow meeting's at my office, oh, I just saw them when I came back from the gym, that's a problem for me, and then Three, this is not the only piece of information.
But tell your dad, I hope it was that was not in reference to the president. That was in reference to Aris Aragalov, who was the Russian oligarch.
Right, the father
whose son was the pop star, who was somehow associated with Rob Goldstone, who was the music manager, who knew Don Jr. He was the one who reached out and said, "I have dirt." Don's like, "Oh, I love it."
But Goldstone and the Russian pop stars text messages.
Right.
It bothers me because if it's like, "Hey, Kennedy, just to let you know, this is what they asked me. This is what I told them. Stick to it." And you're like, "Hey, I hope it was
the average American really cares about that." In addition, when Donald Trump Jr. says, "Look, certainly I wanted information on, on Hillary if I could get it. They didn't have it. I didn't know who I was getting it from. There were 3 Russians.
I mean, are we outraged that someone would seek opposition research from Russians? See, that's the thing. Like, you can't feign outrage and say, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe a Russian lawyer went to Trump Tower." But then it's fine if the DNC is paying Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele millions of dollars
to make it up
to get
wholesale.
dirt on Trump.
Can I just say, though, bring it back for a second to what Katie said, because so that was my impression too. But that's sort of like, if you're reading it and looking for a deeper level, was that this was probably one of many attempts to infiltrate the campaign
on behalf of Hillary Clinton, the DNC.
Well, or on behalf of the Russians.
Well,
to me, it was like, let's go in and try and, make some connection, and maybe we tell them we're lobbying for this, and maybe we can find a way to infiltrate the campaign. I mean, to me, that's what it felt like it could have been, but that's just, kind of speculation.
Yeah, if they did something wrong, just tell us what it is. Just show us enough of this implication, and maybe they did this, and I don't know, this was kind of weird. That's not treason. That's not a crime. It may be annoying.
It might be stupid as well.
No, I don't
maybe dumb.
I don't disagree that this meeting may not have been a crime, but this isn't the only enchilada on the Mexican special plate here that Mother is looking at with regard to Russian collusion.
We're so far past the meal at this point. I don't know if anyone's hungry.
No, I've got it.
Go ahead, Ken. Leslie, you're out visiting us from California. What is the climate like out there right now? What do you think?
Well, first of all, when you look at this is very political, and the White House is not going to talk about how political this is. You have Republicans who are sitting down meeting with the president, and California is key to how the midterms are going to turn out, the composition of the House, if Democrats take it or if Republicans keep it. When you look at the 2 counties where you have a lot of support from, they have more of the red flavor in the blue state of California, that's San Diego and Orange County. But when you also just look at the numbers, and I'm talking about the poll numbers with regard to Senate Bill 54, the California Values Act, there are liberals like myself who aren't happy with some elements of it. Example, if you were, Mr. Cain, God forbid, somebody who beat your wife, okay, you are an undocumented and you get put into prison and then you are released, we want you to be deported. We want, and that's something left and right agree on. What we don't agree on is making it difficult for law enforcement to have cooperation of the undocumented workers, because we have the largest population of undocumented workers in the country, 1, and 2, separation of families, and I'd add a third, questionable arrests. I mean, if somebody has committed a crime in addition to crossing the border, what kind of a crime? Is it a violent crime? Did they steal a pack of gum or a bicycle? Californians, for the most part, are very socially liberal, even Republicans. So when you look at what is happening, the reason I say it is extremely political is right now, Republicans have over 25% down voter registration, less voter registration. That's dangerous going into the midterms, and this is a topic that they feel that can help them to keep or take a seat.
I think it's a little bit unfair to say that it's just political, though, because you listen to the mayors, including the mayor of Encinitas, California, who is a legal immigrant who came here, who is enforcing the administration's role in illegal immigration. They're concerned about their communities and violent criminals being put back into the streets, whether it's in San Francisco or right in their backyard. And they're trying to make sure that they're protecting the people who live there. The other thing that people aren't talking about is the upcoming governor's race. There's a primary on June 5th, happening. Republicans on the Republican side, Travis Allen has been nailing this issue of sanctuary cities, taking advantage of the fact that these cities around and counties around the state have been going against San Francisco. If he wins the primary, he will likely go up against current Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, who was the mayor of San Francisco. And as we know, San Francisco is a complete disaster, whether it's the homeless problem, the drug problem, but especially the illegal immigration problem. So yes, there are politics involved here, but I think people are truly concerned about the fact that they have MS-13 gang members running their streets, their kids' schools. That's absolutely true. Their kids' schools have MS-13 members in them because they fall under the category of being an adult and being 16, 17, 18 from these violent places. And California is not willing to do anything about it. And then you say it's political.
We have more Crips and Bloods in our schools than we have MS.
Oh, because Crips and Bloods are so much better.
No, I'm saying that it's not. You can't just believe the headline and the soundbite. That's not true.
I've been there and done the reporting.
No, I live there. I live there. And the numbers, and you have to look at the actual numbers.
The point is, these are violent gang members who are in this country illegally, and California mayors in liberal cities are protecting them over the safety of their communities, and that's why people are speaking out against it.
If that's who they want to deport, most Californians are, overwhelming majority are in favor of it.
But Leslie, when you look at the way the primary played out, Congressman Barletta did not go after necessarily his primary opponent, the Republican in the race. He kept his eye on the prize, which is the Democrat Bob Casey, the senator who's been there for quite some time now. Republicans are banking on maybe taking back some of these blue seats in red states that Trump won. How do you see that going?
I think there's going to be an offset because I think that there are, I know.
I think the House is going to go blue and that the Senate's
honestly, I'm a pessimist, and you know, my fellow libs get mad at me. The fat lady isn't even near the stage right now.
Right.
Democrats have historically.
She's still in makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
She hasn't even got out there.
Now, see, I can't say that.
No.
Okay.
No, you cannot.
I'd be called a sexist.
When you look at what has happened historically, and not just the party opposite the president in his first year, you know, he doesn't, you know, he loses seats in the House and in the Senate, but Democrats don't show up. And really what we're going to have to see is, do the millennials show up? So many of them, you know, who are now just registering to vote, the younger kids. Do the women show up? Do the minorities show up? Do the Democrats show up? That's where it's going to come down to. But I do see that what we are seeing is a trend. I think the president is very important in these midterm elections, because on the right, it's sort of like, hey, look, you know, I like the president, I like his policies. And on the left, it's, I'm not the president.
But when
I'm the anti-Trump, I don't like his policies.
How could you have voted for him, Roseanne?
He talked about jobs, Jackie. He said he'd shake things up.
Have you looked at the news? Because now things are worse.
Not on the real news.
Oh, police!
A fiery political debate around the dinner table on ABC's reboot of Roseanne, one of the few popular TV shows to feature a pro-Trump character. But now the network may be trying to put the kibosh on the political humor. ABC's entertainment president telling reporters that he thinks Roseanne will move away from politics next season and will instead focus more on family. Not so fast. The main star, Roseanne Barr, pushing back, tweeting, "Don't worry, Roseanne show fans, next season will be even braver, funnier, timely than this season, despite what anyone mistakenly says." Are people sick of hearing about politics and entertainment? I mean, every time you turn on an award show, someone is moralizing, trying to make some political point, and people just want a little escapism.
Okay, I'm taking it totally different than all of you. When I read Roseanne's tweet, I didn't think she was talking about ABC. I think she was talking about, all of you think I'm not going to have anything political. The show's going to be, you know, it's going to be worse and so much different. Hang on, she's got a lot of creative power, okay? The show is not only a lot of her writing, her idea, her name. Yeah. If you look under credits, she gets some money there that other people don't, in addition to her role on the show. And it was her idea to have the Yemen Muslim couple next door. And I was very surprised at that, and I was very proud of her. We follow each other on Twitter, may not agree politically. I don't think it is all like ABC saying, oh, we're not going to have, you know, less Trump bashing. And by the way, the ratings were so great, some people would say, why fix it? It's not broken. Yeah. Why not get the whole pie instead of most of the pie out of the ratings and get a larger audience?
All right, my thanks to Herman Cain. Did you have fun? Are you coming back?
I'm coming back, and you all have an open invitation to join me and my crew for lunch at Eagles Landing Country Club. Open invitation.
All right.
I love that. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
Yes.
We drink a lot, so your bill is going to be huge.
Yeah, let's get a party bus.
All right.
They won't run out.